Good morning, everybody. I am thrilled and happy and beyond excitement because this morning I have this beautiful woman, Deborah Mousseau. She's joining me from here, California. And I'm really, really honored to know Deborah because there's an event that we're both going in August that's going to take place in Benton Harbor, Michigan, where she and I would both be on the stage and speaking to empower women. So I'm really thrilled to be able to meet Deborah in person finally. And also today, I invited her to come on to my coffee show because I thought she, going through her bio as a guest speaker, I really got inspired by your bio. And, I'm sure you can tell us more about your journey of becoming a business consultant today and what that journey was entail in terms of bringing you to become the person you are today. So Deborah is a small business consultant specializing in accounting and finance. She's a former controller and operations manager, and she is well-versed in all areas of running a company. She teaches entrepreneurs how to set up and run their own business. And as an industrial engineer, she became interested with how to use efficiency and system to help running business better. After moving to San Francisco, Deb became the marketing manager and the operations manager at Evergreen Environment. She ran a trucking division, taking from a $15 million profit to a $18 million in just 9 months. She has taken all she has learned and put all the lessons to work in her coaching program and her online classes, a strategic business. She took her finance and management background and created a online class called Strategic Life, and how to make the most of your time, talent, and money. She has a new podcast, A Strategic Life, A Strategic Business, is coming out this week.
Yes.
I stuck on strategics.
It's not an easy word. Sometimes it's not an easy concept because, life is weird. Sometimes we go with the flow, which is good, but sometimes you get beaten up and battered around and you think you're headed this way, you end up over here, you're like, how did I get here? And you got to go back. And the good news is you can go back. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I think if I could empower anybody with anything today, it's that we have a lot more control in our lives than we think we do.
I love that.
It all starts in our mind, and it's up to us. We can create the life. I honestly believe we can create the life that we want to.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you that it's easy, but it can be done.
So ladies and everybody, you know now why I love Deborah, because her energy and her vibe, everything just come to alive. And what really caught me in your bio was that you were an industrial engineer who was in the business as engineer, and then you went into business consultant. Could you just share with us a little bit in terms of what inspired you to do that, to take that leap?
Yeah, it's it never happens overnight, but I got really lucky. I was born in Detroit. I was a poor kid, grew up on a farm in southern Michigan, but there were no private schools, so I went to really good high school, and I got a scholarship, and General Motors had a co-op program so I could pay my way through school. So I paid my way through engineering school, and working for General Motors was great because there's no part of a manufacturing company that I do not understand. I had to work in every single area. So it was great. They trained me really well. I went back and got my MBA, and I'm sitting there working for General Motors going, yeah, lovely. The auto industry's growing at 4% a year. And my best friend was working for Apple, and she in the early 90s, and Apple was just taking off, and she's getting bonus checks of $5,000 every 3 months. And I'm going, what's wrong with this picture? I hated snow. So I'm like, okay, I got to get me a job. After getting my MBA, I'm like, gotta head to San Francisco. So that's what I did. And I took a job with a company that I have to, can I tell a quick story?
Of course.
So,
of course.
At the time I was married, and my husband's like, we're not moving to California unless one of us has a good, solid job. So I took a job with a consulting firm, but it wasn't their accounting division. It was their computer division.
Right.
And by this point in time, I had 8 years of work experience, right? I started working at 16, and I'm in there with some other students, and I wore a red suit, and we have to study for 3 weeks and learn code before we can go out and be consultants. And we're sitting there in our training class, and the kid next to me with no work experience raises his hand and goes, are we allowed to bring our own coffee mug, or do we have to use the company coffee mug? And I'm sitting there going, oh, dear God, what did I do? And the teacher pulled me aside, and I had this beautiful red suit on. I mean, I really love this suit. And I don't normally wear bright red suits, right? But it was gorgeous. And then this is the early 90s. She pulled me aside. She's like, Deborah, she's like, you look beautiful. That's a very nice suit. She's like, we're a blue and gray company. We're blue and gray. And she said, had you worn this suit 3 years ago, I would have sent you home to change it.
No.
Yes, I kid you not. I mean,
no.
91, 1992, and I'm like, what did I do? And I'm like, bad job, bad job, bad job. I did not belong there. I didn't realize how much of an entrepreneur or how much of an artistic person I was. And the one thing I'm going to talk about on August 17th in Benton Harbor, and also today, is know yourself. Find out what your strengths are. Know what your strengths are. The key to success, whether you're an employee or a business owner, is knowing your strengths, getting a job or a career in those strengths. Sometimes we set out one path, but it's really not the path for us, and we end up somewhere else. And I left that company, and that's when I went to Evergreen, and that's when I found my home.
Yeah.
Then I was doing marketing, and then 6 months later, they promoted me to operations manager. And I have to tell you, the men in the company, they're like, headquarters said, put the MBA in charge of operations. He's like, nah, she's not going to make it. He was like this redneck guy from Arkansas, but he built it. He was a brilliant entrepreneur, and he put me in charge of operations, and I just took it and ran. And I had 29 truck drivers working for me.
Yeah.
Customer service reps. And the one customer service rep, she's like, I ain't never had a female boss before. And she's like, I really didn't want to like you. And I thought I was going to hate you. And she's like, you're the best boss I've ever had. Anyway,
I think what you brought up is a very interesting point, because a lot of people out there, they're probably working at a job where they experience a similar situation where their boss or their colleague would make comments such as, oh, we're a blue company, how dare you to wear a white dress or a red dress that coming into here. So I think depending on the situation and depending on the environment that you're in, sometimes we get a lot of those. And for you, there's a moment where you decided, well, this is not for me. This energy is really not where I belong. So you actually took a leap and you went on and worked on self-development, and look where you are now. Ensuring and remembering that experience, what would you say to the people who are finding themselves in that situation where they're being judged by wearing a red dress?
Yeah, you know what? First of all, I think you have to know yourself and love yourself, but do well where you're at. So even though you're in an atmosphere or an environment where you don't fit, people that don't get that lose a job or get fired, it's because they just didn't fit, not because they're not good, not because they're a bad person. I mean, sometimes that happens. I mean, I've fired people for fraud and stuff, but do the best you can where you're at, but then figure out why you're not a good fit. It might be the company itself. Some companies are oppressive, and especially in small businesses working with entrepreneurs, the company takes on the personality of the owner, right? You can't help it. If you're under 10 million, the company resembles the owner. But when you're at a company like General Motors or Starbucks, they each have their own corporate culture, right?
Right.
If you go to Trader Joe's, you live in California, you know what a Trader Joe's is, right?
Right.
You know how fast those people work?
Yes.
All along the way, I've helped entrepreneurs, and I look at their numbers and I run their financial life for them. But I've also counseled a lot of their employees, and I work with everybody. And I mean, I talk to all my Uber and Lyft drivers about money and their finances and their retirement account. They're like, except Ira, I never heard of that. So it's fun, but do good where you're at. Don't get a bad attitude, but understand that you're not there. That's not your purpose. That's not a good fit, and start looking for something better.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've talked to a guy that got fired from Trader Joe's and a young man that got fired from Starbucks. And and this guy, I used to talk to him. One of my attorneys is in a skyscraper in Century City, right? I mean, this is a 32-floor building. And at that Starbucks, you got to go like this. So it's a very fast pace. It's a certain culture. Starbucks has a certain culture. And he didn't fit. I mean, he talked to the customers. He was a lovely person. And he told me, he's like, oh, I talked to him one day. He's like, Deborah, today's my last day. I'm being let go. And I said, oh, don't worry about it. I went, I got him a candy bar and a card, and I went back and I told him, I said, look, you are wonderful. You are very good with customers. You don't belong in an atmosphere like this. There's nothing wrong with Starbucks. I love it. I go there way too much. I said, but you're the guy that needs to work at a 4-star restaurant or 5-star restaurant where you can sit there and comb the crumbs off the table, because he was so attentive and had such a good personality. And he wanted to sit there and have a conversation with the people. He's a good person. He just was a bad fit. So the thing is, if you're in that situation, there's something better waiting for you. There's something better for you out there. You just need to go find it.
Yeah, I love that. And I totally agree with you in terms of, because sometimes I find myself in that situation where I feel like I don't belong here because the vibe and the culture is just really doesn't resonate with me, and in terms of who I am and how I do things. So I find myself in that situation where I'm starting to look for my own purpose. Where do I fit? So, and then that actually brought me to, coaching, of course. There's like calling about using our talent in the best place that we can find ourselves in. And to be able to use that talent so that it can benefit other people and to inspire others. So what inspired you to start, coaching small business and business owner or individuals to who's running their business?
Yeah, you know what? After seeing, I've seen really good successes, but I've also seen absolute catastrophes. And you know what? I like the entrepreneurs. I started in San Francisco working with small companies. And then when I moved to LA, I just continued. And they're so interesting. Like, it's so much fun finding out everybody's story and how they got there. But I have 2 or 3 CPAs that would send me clients that either they messed up or they didn't do, they didn't want to do the monthly accounting themselves. But sometimes business owners mess up. They commingle personal, they do things they shouldn't be doing. All kinds of fraud cases too. But like, I had this one guy and he was going through bankruptcy. I had to go and clean up his books and counsel him. And then I ended up counseling some of his employees because they were scared to death they were going to lose their jobs, So trying to help them with their personal finances is actually how a strategic life, which used to be financial fitness in 90 days, that's how that came about. But I just love working with people, but I've seen so many people either buy a business that they're not suited for, or they start a career they're not suited for, and they're miserable, they're not successful, it ends up failing, they can't figure out why. And the thing is, their skill set, like when you were born, like you've had all these wonderful life experiences, you've had some horrible life experiences, right?
Yeah.
But you are uniquely you. You have your own set of gifts and talents. Oh my goodness, I am so sorry.
That's okay.
I need to turn that off. My apologies. You have your own unique set of gifts and talents. You were born with certain innate talents, right? Some people, I'm good at crunching numbers. Some people are good at cooking. You don't ever want to see me in your kitchen. Don't ever invite me to cook for you.
Well, I don't know about that. We can talk about that when we meet.
But no, I've met business owners. I'm trying to help them through their bankruptcy. And the whole reason why is they saw this company, they bought it thinking it was a great opportunity, but it didn't line up with their skill set. I mean, this was a really good salesman. He was great at getting customers. He couldn't run the operations. And when the company went bad, and the operations manager quit, he was trying to run the operations and he didn't know how. And he was never going to be good at it because he didn't have the right skill set. He didn't have the right talents,
Yeah.
So my biggest thing, what I run people through, I wrote Financial Fitness in 90 Days, right?
Yeah.
I got all done and I'm like, okay, this is about finance. I'm going to go help everyone with their finances. But I'm looking at all of module 2 and it's dreams, purpose, mindset, skill set, all about your life, how to set goals, how to get what you want out of life. And I'm like, oh goodness, I didn't write a class about finance. I wrote a class about life.
Right.
That's why I had to change the name and call it A Strategic Life, because I was marketing it incorrectly. So, yeah. Can I share one more story with you?
Of course, this is your
Watch, I talk more
time.
Anyway, one of my former clients, he was an employee, but he and his wife had 7 rental properties and she ran her own business. So I was helping them doing their accounting and figuring out all the stuff with their businesses. And then he quit his job and he went out and started a new company and they moved to Oregon and he hired a controller. And he called, he's like, Deborah, he's like, my controller's in trouble. He doesn't see numbers the way you see numbers. And I'm like, what do you mean by see numbers? Like, I'd never heard this phrase before. And he's like, he's just not good. Can you come up here and help him? So I was flying back and forth from Oregon to California. They paid for everything. I'm like, okay, no problem.
Yeah.
You know, I looked at the accounting system, and this is a man with a 4-year degree in accounting, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the system was a mess. Like the chart of accounts, which is the spine of your accounting system, was just off. It was just bad. And I sat down with the guy and I said, what do you really want to do? Like what is your dream? What do you want to do? Because I looked at his resume. He never stopped for more than a year. And I'm like, what do you want to do? He's like, I really want to open a sports bar. This man was a talker. Like, he loved people. He was a philosopher. He could talk all day long. He knew history. I'm like, you belong running a sports bar. That's what you should do. I'm like, go get a job. And, you know, restaurant managers make pretty good money. I'm like, if you got to start as a busboy, do that and work your way up. But he didn't. A year or two later, I got a call, and he was in financial trouble. And I'm like, oh, shoot. So he didn't take my advice, and partially because of pride. And, you know, something it's hard to start over. You know, he was pushing 40. But, you know, if there's anything I can teach people, this is why I want to teach. I'm good at it. I'm good at taking complex subjects and making them easier to understand.
Right.
So that's one of my talents. But also, I didn't realize. I thought I was a wallflower. And my clients were like, no, you never shut up.
You are not a wallflower at all. Like, you have that great personality. You're very bright and you're inspiring. And just, you know, even through your email, I got a lot of sense of, you know, this woman knows what she's talking about. And I think, you know, a lot of what you just said and what I've heard was that you're actually just teaching people how to pursue their dream and really, you know, looking at how do you run your life. So I love how you name the online classes and also your book, Strategic Life, because a lot of us get stuck on, you know, we have that dream, we have that goal of being somewhere. We imagine ourselves to be somewhere, but we never came up with a plan in terms of, okay, so how do we go about doing that? Whether it's hiring someone to teach us the skill set in order to be able to pursue our dream, or, you know, really looking at where do I fit in this lifetime, right? How do we want to spend our time while we're here, while we're alive? How do we want to live our life? Do we want to live our life continually to be small, or do we want to really, you know, looking at our goal and say, you know what, I got what it takes and this is my skills to be able to do that. So I think a lot of what you're teaching people is actually how to run people's life. And I love that, because a lot of it is, you know, exactly what I do in terms of helping people and removing those, I'm not good enough, I don't think I have what it takes. And you know, for the example of that gentleman, you know, it's perfect example of where our own mindset, our own judgment led to how it allows us to continue to be playing small in our life, and where does it lead to continue to play small in our lives is we don't get to our dream job.
Yeah.
So,
exactly.
Yeah.
I see too many people not fulfilling their purpose in life, but also not living up to their potential. I almost wanted to call my podcast Maximum Potential, and I'm like, no, I think a strategic life is better. But yeah, because the thing is, everybody has, people think, oh, well, someone's got to be at the bottom end. No, they don't. Everybody can live a really good life. It doesn't mean you don't need to be a millionaire. You know, you can make 80 grand a year and have a fabulous life and travel the world. You can make 2 million a year, and I've had clients doing this. You can make 2 million a year and be absolutely miserable.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not about how much money you make, it's about what you do with it. And it's really about it really is about finding your purpose and being who you want to be.
Yeah. I think I would like to just make $1 million, Deb. So if you can help me in that area, I would greatly appreciate.
I will.
I'm not really greedy. I just need 1 million. That would be good enough for me.
You got to pay taxes on that too, you know.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, see, I didn't think about that. See, that's why I need you to kind of point out, you know, where my blind spots are. I forgot about tax. Yes, thank you for reminding me. So that's bump it up to $2 million.
I like the way you think. Yeah.
One of the things that keep coming up is the strategic life. So what do you think, what is strategic life for you? What does it mean?
It's really about honing in on who you are. Mm-hmm. Like I said, you know, whether we like it or not, we were all born with certain talents. You know, if you listen to a classical pianist play, I mean, they were born to do that, right? But had the discipline to sit down and practice. You know, nobody gets good overnight, and nothing happens overnight. I think sometimes, you know, people get really close to their dream and they quit and they're right on the edge. They're about to go over. And if they just hang in there, they go over. But some people don't even know what their talents are. So identifying that because, you know, we're all like, I mean, this sounds really silly, but we're all little snowflakes, you know, like we are all so different. Like you could have somebody born with your same skill set or your same talents, but because skill set is developed, right? We develop our skill sets, but our talents, you can tell, what did you like when you were a little kid? What did you play with? What did you dream about? As we go through life, we bury those things and we suit on us and suit. And then we're this dirty black diamond instead of that shiny bright diamond, right? But we have potential to be that shiny bright diamond. So, you know, but just knowing what you're good at and finding a job instead of just taking a job to take a job. But, you know, maybe your purpose is not your day job. Maybe your purpose is taking your animals to an old folks home on the weekend, you know, and have a regular job. But when you go to that regular job, whether it's a janitor or whatever, do the best you can be. You know, do the best you can be. Because the one thing I've noticed is people will notice you. I was counseling a guy, he worked at Eddie Bauer in the mall, and he was only part-time. He had no benefits. He was living out of his car. You know, nobody knew this. You would never tell. He was dressed impeccably, but he gave such wonderful service. Like he loved people. He just gave brilliant service. And the guy came in the store one day and he says to my friend, and he's like, he had been working with him. He picked out a couple shirts or sweaters or whatever. And the guy's like, your service is so good. He's like, I want you to come interview for my office manager job. He's like, I need someone like you running my office. Yeah. So he's going to go. I got to follow up with him and find out if he got it. But just by being excellent, by being good, doing well where he was going to go from making 10, 12 bucks an hour working in the mall, part-time with no benefits, to getting a full-time job at, you know, $40,000, $50,000 a year and benefits. So just by being good. So it's up to us to, you know, make the most of what we have.
I totally agree. And a lot of us are really not truly living our potential. And we don't even realize that we're not living our true potential until we find ourselves getting really stuck in, whether it's the financial aspect of our life or, you know, relationship, any parts of our life, we get ourselves into that situation where we're not being there. We're not showing up for who we are. And by really, truly showing up for who we are, we actually expand our possibility. We expand our potential. And looking where you were, you know, years ago versus where you are now. Yeah. If you were to give that person, the younger self, in one piece of advice, what would it be?
Oh, that's tough. You know what? I would say don't worry so much. Don't worry. Like, I used to stress so much in your 20s. You know, what is it like? I go back and, you know, be careful the words you say to yourself too, because How many of us have said, oh, I'm too old, I'm too fat, I'm too ugly? Have you ever said those things to yourselves?
All the time.
They're horrible, and they're not true. I mean, I was saying that in my early 30s, and in my 20s, I was skinny, but I'd go to the, it was the 80s, I'd go to the gym 5 days a week, and I was like always trying to lose weight. And it's like, I look at a picture of me 10 years ago going, wow, can I get that belly back? Can I just drop this guy I have right now? Like we don't appreciate ourselves enough. I really don't. And we don't appreciate the journey. Because of my childhood, I was always looking forward, like, oh, when I get here, I'll be happy. When I do this, things will be better. When I do this, I was always looking to the future. And when you're doing that, you can't live in the moment. Like, you have to plan for the future. You absolutely have to plan. You have to save. But live in the moment. Be present. Not live in the moment like nothing else matters and I'm going to go spend all my money today. No, right. You can't do that. And the other thing is, no matter where you're at, like no matter how badly you've screwed up, you can turn it around. Mm-hmm. The only time you can't turn it around is when you're dead. Seriously, I have a good friend and she teaches finance as well. And that was not her day job. I've been in accounting for 20 years, but she and her husband had $250,000 in debt and they paid it off. Mm-hmm. I don't care what you have. I have, that's part of my program. I got a debt payoff spreadsheet. No matter what you've done, no matter how far I'm counseling a homeless guy that sits outside my apartment right now. And we have a on Friday. He's completely turned his life around. He's got an apartment. He got disability. I bought him a phone. He was going to get a job, but now he's 100% disabled. And he's like, Deborah, I don't have credit. I can't do anything. I don't have credit. And he's like, can you help me? And I said, sure. So I'm just working with him. I don't charge him. It's free. But I don't want a financial planner getting a hold of him going, oh, you should invest in this. You should invest in that. I'm like, no, I don't sell anything. So on Friday, we're going down to the bank and get him a secured credit card. I said, put a little deposit down. You're high risk. You got to put a deposit down. And this is how you build your credit. He's like, okay, cool. Thank you. So, yeah.
Oh, that's so sweet of you. So nice of you.
But everything we do affects other people. And we can be a positive influence or we can be a negative influence. So let's be positive,
Yeah. That's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. That's a beautiful story. And I think, you've done so many wonderful things and you've been so inspiring to all the people around you. It really demonstrates, how exactly you can carry that strategic life into your own personal life and how successful you can be if you were to just live in that moment and be who you are and really truly nourish yourself in terms of, accepting yourself for who you are. And that knowing yourself, knowing who you are really emanate to how people will see you and the influences people around you. That's,
yeah.
And
oh, no, go ahead.
That's okay. So what I also heard was, part of that younger self was about not taking care of ourselves, not constantly judging ourselves, and we had to be on a diet, we have to look young, we have to look certain ways, and I think it's shared by so many people out there, so many women who's going through the same journey, and every single day, I'm sure there's a lot of us who's sitting there and thinking, I need to on a diet. I need to look young. I need to look for a way to do some liposuction. And when it comes back, it's not really knowing ourselves, right? Because if you really truly know yourself, then you would know your body, how to take care of yourself, how to nourish your body. And sometimes nourishing your body doesn't mean that you have to be on diet. That was really interesting. And in that moment of time, we talked about that voice that was talking to us.
Yeah.
On a normal, typical day, what does the voice in your head tell you?
It's funny because I've got a new coach. I have two coaches. I have my business coach, right? And now I have what's more of he's a kind of a business coach, but he's really a life coach,
Uh-huh.
And you know what? If you told me 5 years ago I would have had a coach, I'd be like, be serious. What do I need that for? But I've been spending the last month or two working on my mindset because your mindset is everything. Mm-hmm. And you're gonna have those voices in your head, and it's gonna raise up doubt and self
doubt,
self-doubt, and I think it's not just getting to know yourself; it's learning to love yourself. Like just love yourself as you are, because you have good points, you have bad points. You know, you make mistakes. Everyone's going to make mistakes. We're not perfect. We're not ever going to be perfect. But the more you love yourself, not in a selfish way, like, oh, it's me, 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 and I'm the only thing that matters. But if you love yourself and you're comfortable with self, the more you love yourself, the better you can love others.
Yes.
You know? And I think at the end of the day, that's what life should be about, is love. Everything else will fall into place if you can get that part of the equation right.
I love that. I love that. And that's what I teach as a life coach. You know, I teach women to love yourself, to accept. There's a lot of self-acceptance and self-confidence behind what I teach to women. And I love the fact that you brought up, you know, a lot of people don't think, or they haven't realized that they need to start looking for a coach, because, you know, I myself, I have a coach and I work with many different coaches, and the concept of coaching or having a coach is still very foreign to people. And we don't realize, you know, looking back, you know, I didn't realize that there's so many different possibility or things that I can do. My ability to run a business, to go out there, to be able to speak to people, all of that comes from working with a coach. Had I not worked with a coach, you know, I felt like I didn't know where to start. I would be struggling. I spent my past 30 years struggling to find my place to where I am now. By working with a coach or a consultant like you, who can actually point out, you know, where's my shortcoming, where's my blind spot, where should I put more emphasis on? That really opened up and expand all my possibility in terms of how successful I could be.
Yeah.
So I totally agree with you. Yeah.
You know what? I never thought I'd spend the money, and I'm like, it has been so worth it. But also, you get those voices in your head, those negative voices, and I just want to go back that, because mindset's so important. You get to choose which voices you listen to. So when those negative things pop up, you just get rid of them, right? And it takes training. It's discipline. It's just like going to the gym and working out. You just got to do it. But if you know who you are and you know what your purpose is in life, and you focus on that, then when those negative voices come up, it's easier to get them, just throw them away. And when you love yourself, like, you know, if you weigh 300 pounds, you don't have to love your fat, but love you, the inside of you, love who you are. And when you do that, it's going to make it easier to drop the extra weight. Healthy. I don't want everyone to be skinny. I just want everyone to be healthy. But mental health is probably the biggest key to that.
The key to that. Yes, I agree. And once you know yourself, you have more control. You can choose now. You can stand back, and then, you know what? You can choose how you want to live your life, whether or not you, like you said, you don't have to love your fat, but you can choose what is healthy to your body and what's nourishing your body. So you have that control. As you mentioned in the beginning of the session, you have more, you can actually take control of what you want for your life.
Exactly. We have so much more control than we think. We just need to go out there and get it. And if we can't do it on our own, get help. That's what friends are for. That's what friends are for. Advisors. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a couple of minutes left. I would like you to tell us, you know, what would be your next step, because we share a lot of wonderful things, you know. So moving forward, what would be your next step in terms of seeing yourself?
Oh, in terms of like the career,
where you are in your career, in your life, you know, if you don't mind sharing with us.
No, it's been a journey. So as you know, we're going to speak together on August 17th. So that I'm starting to book more speaking gigs, which is new for me. And I thought I might be nervous and stuff. I'm actually loving it. Like, I did my keynote. I'm so happy. It's good. I mean, I just took my class and strategically placed it into a keynote, because I'm really having a hard time getting it down to, you know, 35 minutes, 40 minutes. But it's okay. But, you know, there's been so many big changes, but even in my personal life, it's interesting. I'm open to everything, but my business is growing leaps and bounds, which is really good. So I plan on writing more, speaking more, but still taking care of my clients. And then eventually my accounting firm, I will probably get rid of and just be a consultant full time. I have a hard time doing that. But then my parents are getting older, and I have 9 nieces and nephews and 9 grandnieces and nephews.
Oh,
and
wow. Big family.
Yeah.
4 cats.
4 fur babies. Well, actually, I have 8.5 grandnieces. The other one's ready to pop out at any minute. But my parents are getting older, so in the next 3 months, besides doing all the work stuff, I'm trying to buy a house. I have to go fix up my parents' house so we can sell it because they have a house with 3 flights of stairs, and my dad has COPD and he can't breathe so well. So he's walking with a cane now, and he's getting to the point where he's going to be in a wheelchair. So. Different phase of life for me. I was going to buy a condo downtown because I love living downtown, right? It's fun. For the next few years, I'm going to go buy a ranch house, outfit it so that Dad, when he gets in a wheelchair, can stay at home and hang out at home and see his family. So it's not an ugly ranch house. It kind of is, but it's on a lake. It's on a private lake, so it's going to be nice.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be nice when I get done with it.
Well, hopefully I'll get an invitation, to come and I'll join you at the lake.
Absolutely. You already have it.
Thank you.
First. But yeah, so that's my next phase of life. And so I'll be, you know what, everybody's get older.
As you're sharing your journey on your next step, what I've noticed was that you have that vibe of talking and describing it. And sometimes we're so in that moment where we're living in our space, we're living in our showing up by who we are. We truly fulfill. There's a sense of fulfillment and that sense of purpose that's resonating within you, and that just show up completely as you're talking about your family, as you're talking about your fur baby, and even the places where you want to be. And all of those are bringing a lot of joy and fulfillment, behind the words. So, and I know we spoke about this, about your book, your writing, and I have no doubt that it's going to be a bestseller. So please keep me in loop with that.
Yeah, I love that. As you were speaking, I was just going to say that. It's like, I do vision boards, and some people laugh at vision boards, and men have a harder time with vision boards than women. Yeah. And it's not about, having the big house and the big car. That's a side thing. If your vision board should be more about who can I help, who can I serve, who can I love. If you do that, all those other things are going to come to you. You know what I mean? Yes. So, yeah. And
I just ran a vision board workshop with a group of women together, and we pasted our vision, onto there. And one of the things that I shared with them was, it's not about what you paste onto the vision board. It's about the energy that you're putting in and the things that you cut out. How much energy are you putting in there, and how do you show up in each category that you place it onto your vision board? How do you carry it into everyday life so that there's that passion, that fire that burns inside of you that doesn't go away? And when you talk about, your next step, I can totally see, that passion, that livelihood that comes through the camera. And I'm sure when I meet you in person, it's going to be like, oh my God, Deborah, your power, your potential is just all there. And, I'm just so affected and influenced by it. It just opened up and brightened my Monday altogether.
Oh, thank you. I hope so. I have defined my purpose as helping other people find their purpose in life. I can help them build their business too, but I want to be the right business for them. But but that vision, I want you to put that $1 million out there. Okay, that $1 million, because it will come to you. Yes, 2 million. So you can pay your taxes and take some good money home.
No, we up the amount.
Yep, and the bestseller, and the house, and anything else you want.
Yes. Could you share with us, in terms of to the audience, where can we find you?
The easiest place is my website, DeborahMousseau.com. It's Deborah, DeborahMousseau.com. Or on Facebook, I have a strategic business masterclass. So that's for my business people, and you can come there and get free advice and videos. And then from there, when people join my class, they actually get a private Facebook group where we interact all the time.
Awesome. I love that.
And they can see us on August 17th.
Yes, I will see you August 17th, and I would love to take you out for a dinner or something.
Oh, we will. Yes.
Yeah.
Dinner on the lake. If you haven't seen Lake Michigan yet, have you?
No, I haven't. Yeah, first time in Michigan. So yeah, I'm really excited. Yeah,
it'll be fun.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you. This was fun. I'm so honored to be here. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you. So best of luck. Have a great week, and I will see you soon.
Thank you, Michelle.
Bye.
Bye.